got to put your headphones on.
Or
you don't want to mess up your hair?
Yeah. That's not nice. Are you making fun of me?
Am I? Just a wee bit. Just a wee bit.
All right. So I made some notes because I actually did some preparation.
Oh my gosh.
For this.
We love someone who's prepared. I
do come prepared. I always think ahead of time about some questions in my head, and then like 5 minutes before you get here, I jot them all down. And then if I kind of lose my train of thought during the interview, sometimes that happens. Like I can't think
it gets to the best of us. That's
most of the time the conversation flows, but
we'll see how this one goes.
I haven't had a person yet that would just give me yes or no answers and then not elaborate on anything.
Imagine having someone like that on the podcast. It would be the first and last time.
Probably. And the key is not to ask yes or no questions.
Yeah.
The key is to ask open-ended questions to where they can't say yes or no. There's
well, that's a lot of thinking on your part too.
So like a yes or no question would be like, your name is AUSET WHATLEY, right?
Yes, it is.
And then awkward silence. See?
Well,
those are the kind of questions you don't want to ask. So we're here with AUSET WHATLEY today. Isn't that right?
Yes, it is. The one and only AUSET WHATLEY.
What brings you by today, AUSET WHATLEY? That would be something that requires something other than a yes or no question, right?
Oh, man. What brings you by today?
So we're in San Antonio, Texas,
yeah.
right? You are based out of LA, Los Angeles right now, right?
Los Angeles, the crazy state.
We'll get to that. How long have you been in Los Angeles?
About a year and a half now. I moved there in, what year are we in? 2023? We're in 2024.
January 2nd.
So in May, it'll make 2 years that I will have traveled and moved to LA.
Okay.
2 years.
2 years. It's been that long.
I know.
When did we start shooting? We have done photo shoots together.
Oh, well prior to me moving to LA.
Right.
We started 2020 or 2021.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah. About 2 years prior to me actually moving to LA.
Yeah.
You and I connected. How did we actually meet?
I don't know. One of us probably reached out to the other one and said...
it was probably me reaching out to you in all honesty, because I was still a novice, I heck still am, to modeling, and I needed, some pictures, so...
See, I didn't know that. I thought you were an experienced model.
Really?
When you came in.
Oh, my.
So if I'd have known that, I probably would have said, no, I don't know.
I had done a few shoots before actually working with you, maybe a handful, maybe even 2 handfuls. But once I started working with you and, of course, a few other photographers here in San Antonio, I developed my portfolio.
Yeah, you got some good shots from me. The first one we did was, and I'll flash that up on the screen here.
Oh my gosh,
the green background.
Yes.
And you had on the
black
beige
top
shorts
and the beige shorts.
Yeah, black top. Yeah.
That was our first shoot. It was.
And then you switched it up and you had a second outfit with it was a white and black patterned. It was skirt
houndstooth, with the red boots.
Yeah. Was it red boots? I don't remember. We'll flash that up too. We popped the red background though, and it popped.
Yeah.
No,
Early
you were
days.
on it. I didn't think you were that
new.
I thought, exactly. I thought you had
really?
quite a bit of experience. So
I think it was just the confidence that I don't care if I'm doing this right, if I'm doing it wrong. I'm just going to act like I know what the heck I'm doing.
No, you came in and you were like, so, Gregory, you started interrogating me.
No, did I really?
Yeah. Asking a lot of questions.
Oh.
Yeah.
But dang, I guess I don't just do that with relationships. I guess I do that with my poor photographers. I'm so sorry. What kind of questions was I asking you?
I don't remember. I just remember you were
Bless
asking
your
me
heart.
how long
was
have
that
I
intimidating?
It wasn't intimidating. It was just that's not usually how the shoots go. People are generally come in. They don't know a lot of them, if we haven't shot before, they don't know what to expect from me. They're kind of quiet. Not everyone is kind of quiet. There's some people that just come in like a train wreck. But, most of the time people are, a little bit reserved, especially the professional models. They're not going to come in too loud and boisterous and everything else. But, yeah, no, you were cool.
Okay. Well, good note. I'm I would definitely say it's not like that in LA.
Well, you've advanced your career quite a bit since then. It's not back then. It was model, right? So what would you say now? I would say it's what comes first. It's model, actor, influencer. But what comes first now? What's in that pecking order?
It would be actress, model, but a lot of people don't know much about the acting side of me. So it's, AUSET, like, you model, you're a model. I'm like, yeah. So I'm trying to actually work on showcasing and branding myself. Like, actually, acting took place before modeling.
Right.
Modeling was really just initially for my foot in the door. And in the entertainment world in general, you really just kind of want to get your foot in the door in any way possible. I mean, any morally good way possible. Let me just say that. But yeah, it all started with actually acting. I enjoy acting, being in front of the camera, obviously. But it would go actress, model, UGC creator.
Okay.
UGC creator.
UDC creator. What is that?
No, UGC.
UGC. What is that?
User generated content. So, like the skincare videos that I do, it would be anything that like I use around the house. That's just a part of my lifestyle.
Right.
That I either make for myself or that I would make for brands that reach out to me. So
that was my next question. So how did you start doing the UGC stuff on your own, and then brands started reaching out? And you're tagging them and doing all that kind of stuff for anyone that wants to potentially work with brands.
Yeah.
Tell me how that works. And I get some of these emails from brands too. Hey, if you hype our product on either Instagram or it's YouTube, really, we'll pay you this amount. Is that how it's happened for you? Do they reach out to you through social media or email and just say, hey, we'll send you some free product if you'll promote it?
That is actually ultimately the goal, because you want brands reaching out to you. But when you're first starting, like myself, I was just making content that was meaningful to me, because I noticed a pattern with a lot of creators in general. They would make content that really had no purpose. And I would look at the most successful content creators, or those who always caught my eye, and see what type of content they were posting. It's something meaningful. It's actually a part of like your lifestyle.
It's useful.
It's useful. And it could be used for anyone, like for their benefit. So for me specifically, I love skincare. It's not something I have to think of every day. I really enjoy working on my skin, because being a commercial or a beauty model, I have to take care of the whole thing, but mostly the face. Right. So I just really picked up a camera, grabbed a little suction cup thing to go into my restroom, and started filming myself doing my skincare routine. And then that's when I messaged a couple brands here and there, but then brands actually started messaging me. And I was like, oh, yay, this would be great. Yes, send me the free product, please. I would love to try it, give you my honest feedback, and let you know if your product is either trash or if it actually works. I'm not about to promote something that I personally wouldn't use, or I'm not about to recommend it to my skincare girlies, because it's like, now I'm lying to you. Now I'm just doing this for money and for clout. I'm like, no, I don't like this. It kind of stinks, whatever.
Now, have you gotten to the point to where you're like, well, just sending me your free stuff is not enough? Let's negotiate some compensation if you want some FaceTime from Miss Whitley. Have you gotten that far into it yet?
I have, actually. So whenever I first start out in any new artistic endeavor, new industry, even with modeling, I always offer gifted, that's what it's called, like gifted collaborations, or TFP, trade for print. So just for me to gain experience and also become more comfortable doing this type of art. So I have gotten to a point now where I have my whole rate card, my previous work that I've done, like a whole little portfolio for UGC, that when brands reach out to me and they're like, we'll give you some free product for this. Now, depending on who the brand is and what they give, I may be willing to do, a gifted collaboration. However, there have been brands that have like spent the block twice.
Right.
And they were like, okay, well, we have this new product coming out. We'd love to, send you some and for you to promote it. And I make it very clear in the beginning, like, hey, I've researched your brand, whether they're big or small. I like what you guys are doing. I wouldn't mind doing a gifted collaboration the first go around, but the second go around, if you would like to use me again,
right,
this is my rate.
Okay.
So I don't just shut off the door to gifted collaborations because I like to consider myself very humble. I'm never too high and mighty to where I can't get knocked down. You know what I mean? So,
well, I think that's a good strategy because if you come out the gate and go, "Oh, you got to pay me first,"
yeah,
I mean,
of course.
Unless you're a celebrity, right? You've probably got someone negotiating that for you anyway, an agent, right? But right out the gate, you're not slamming the door on somebody.
Yeah.
You're saying, "Yeah, okay, let's work together. We'll try this out and see what happens. But if you want to continue this relationship, then let's discuss some compensation," right?
Yeah, and honestly, I think that should be like a really golden rule for anybody in the arts. Like when it comes to photography, like yourself, videography, acting, modeling, whatever the case may be, we're all working hand in hand if you think about it.
Right.
And you really, like, the mindset that I go in with is a win-win relationship. Hey,
Yeah.
I want you to win just as much as I want myself to win.
Right.
Let's work together. My rates aren't out of this world. So I'm like, hey, like, send me a couple $100. I don't mind doing this and, some free product. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And usually, like, when I keep that transparency up front, they come back. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to keep doing this. I have had influencers tell me, you're not charging enough. You're not doing it. I'm like, it's not about the money for me.
Right.
I truly like making these videos, talking to myself in the mirror, a story time.
Right.
Creating
content.
Useful
content.
Exactly. And having those viewers, hey,
Yeah.
like, what did you use? Hey, can I do this? That is what gives me the momentum
Right.
to really keep going. So I'm like, it's not about the money for me.
Yeah.
Eventually, pay my bills, but right now it's really not.
So let's switch gears a little bit. And the useful thing, I think everyone needs to remember that as far as the content that you're creating. How useful are you being? And if it's very useful to people, I mean, I think you can see that the engagement and feedback is going to increase the more. Like, I'm hoping, like this podcast, anyone interested in working with brands, people hitting you up, they'll see this and they'll be like, I don't even know how to do that. Like, how is AUSET doing it? Well, you just provided an example of how you would proceed when someone approaches you, right?
Yeah.
So anybody that is getting approached by brands and you don't know really how to engage with those brands, that's one way to go, right?
It certainly is. I would also suggest, if you're just starting out and you're wanting to dive into any world of the arts, you're going to have to start cold calling or like cold emailing or DMing. Hey, I've researched your work. I followed you for a while. Would you be interested in doing this? And I know, like, a lot of people are like really scared about like how to navigate it, but don't be afraid to ask questions because a lot of times people are willing to help you.
Right.
Even for a small price or no price, just depends on what it is. But come there professional with as much knowledge as you can, especially about the person or the brand, because that will make them more willing and open to want to help you, do something.
And what I've heard, and I haven't done this yet, but is, people are not, it doesn't matter how good you are, right? You can't just sit at home and wait for the phone to ring. It's just not going to happen, right? One approach that I've seen is where, if you are wanting to work with brands, reach out per week. If you're really serious about it, reach out, go do some research, find people on the internet and whatever, reach out to 100 people per week. Out of those 100 people, you might get 3 or 4 that actually
And that's good.
call you back.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll get 1, but don't expect 50 people to be calling you back. But the more people you reach out to, the more chance that you have of, getting that engagement from them. And if you keep doing that every week or every couple weeks or, whatever your schedule is, eventually you're going to get some clients. And then you're going to get some repeat business, right? And then they're going to tell their friends, and it's going to hopefully start to grow from there, right?
That is ultimately the goal for sure. Like I said, researching, doing what you can to really just arm and prep yourself,
right?
To make it to that next level. So,
So what took you to LA? I'm going to ask you, there's a couple things I want you to respond to. So you went to LA, one, why? You left you were in San Antonio, right? You went to LA. And when you went out there, what were some of the challenges that you faced once you made the decision to make that move and go out there? And then lastly, if you can remember all these questions, what is a day in the life of a model, actor, influencer like in Los Angeles?
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so what brought me out to LA to begin with is the market. Because I knew what I wanted. I wanted to be an actress, a working actress, and a working model. Didn't know about the UGC, but that came along. I knew I wanted to do those two things. I knew that in order to be the best, I had to work with the best, and I had to compete against the best. Mm-hmm. So no matter how many times I fell down, how many rejections I got, and I get a lot of them, I had to put myself in those environments. And unfortunately, as big as Texas is, and I love Texas, it just didn't have that competitive market that LA, New York, and heck, now even Atlanta and Chicago that they have. Mm-hmm. So that initially drew me out to LA, aside from the beautiful weather.
Right.
Some challenges. If you don't know this already, I'm sorry, but California has to be one of the most expensive states.
Yeah, yeah.
I did not see myself. I think I was there maybe 9 months. Mm-hmm. Thank God I didn't have to work. However, I was still in school and I was finishing up my bachelor's degree.
Okay.
So finances were definitely one of the biggest challenges. I wouldn't advise anyone to go out there to live, that is, unless you have all of your obligations and debt paid off. I went out there with $20K in debt, mm-hmm. which I just paid off, by the way.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. No debt. If you don't have a car, I suggest getting a car, or you're going to be on the metro 24/7. And I didn't have a network. I didn't know anyone out there. I have a cousin, mm-hmm. And 2 younger cousins. So I have a little family out there, but she lives like 35 minutes away from me. So truly, finances, no network. I just went out balls to the wall out to LA. Can you say that on the air?
Yeah. I think we're okay with that.
Okay. Those were honestly some of my biggest challenges.
Like, where did you live? Like, you got there, you get out of did you drive or did you fly? And you got
so
off
I flew. I was initially supposed to move out to LA with a sister of mine. She's like my sister. We're not like blood sister, but she's an artist and she actually sings. She ended up not coming, but the apartment that she actually found mm-hmm. is called co-living.
Okay.
A lot of people aren't familiar with what co-living is, and that's the only thing that I've noticed out in LA versus Texas is a bunch of people living together because they're artists or something. Right. We know rent is high, so let's band together and get a roommate or do co-living. So I live in co-living right now, and I'm trying to live as far under my means as possible to not only keep money in my pocket and in my bank account for emergencies, but for whatever else that I need. So I got out to LA off of the plane. I didn't have my car at the time. And I went to this apartment, didn't know a roommate, didn't know a soul. To me, it was like boot camp all over again, because I just go there, I just show up, hey, I'm here. This is my bed. Okay. Get out the way. Let's make some room. I'm here.
Right. That had to be scary. Were you
no
apprehensive about it at all? Or, I mean, you had some support system there. You had your sister.
No, she's not there.
She's not. So
I went there by myself.
Okay.
Yeah,
all
I went out
I
there.
thought you guys were looking for an apartment together or co-living
So she found
space.
it like online.
She found it. Okay.
Yeah, she found it online and shared it with me.
Gotcha.
And I
so
signed my
lease.
lease.
You were just by yourself.
Mm-hmm. Like 3 suitcases by myself.
But you're trained. You've got your Air Force, right? You got some training, right? You know how to handle yourself a little bit.
But it's different when dealing with militants and civilians.
Right.
Civilians have no bearing, and it just disrupts my soul.
What do you mean they have no bearing?
Oh my goodness!
No discipline.
No discipline. No cleanliness. No sense of like direction. No ambition. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It's just they just want everything.
Because you're up at
like
5 a.m. every day starting your thing, right?
I used to be, not anymore. I've taken a lot more thought into how I would like to start my day, and planning. I'm
Getting some good sleep is one of them.
Yes, I will not function without food and sleep. It's like the Incredible Hulk. But yeah, I just got there. Like I said, no car. I walked everywhere. I had the mentality that, you know what? I'm going to leave my car in Texas. I'm going to walk everywhere. No. Sad rookie mistake. Yeah. And this is how I ended up becoming like a vegan-ish vegetarian. I would walk everywhere, like I said.
Yeah.
So to the store, to wherever I needed to go.
That's good for you, though. Well, that'll get you all that
walking. Not in that sun, it's not.
Yeah. Wow.
I mean,
in the summer out there, yeah.
I was dang near dead. But the heaviest thing for me to carry were the meat, like slabs. And I was like, you know what? I'm not carrying the meat anymore. The meat's staying at the store, so I just stopped buying meat. And
that is so interesting. Most people
so
make that. It's a life decision, and they're doing it for some profound reason in their health and this, that, and that. And you're like, I just don't want to carry the damn meat.
No. Right? I kid you not. That's why I say vegan-ish, but more very vegetarian, because it wasn't a health-conscious decision. I was like, nope. I don't feel like carrying this meat. Instacart's getting too dang expensive. DoorDash, no, absolutely not. The meat, you're staying at the store. Chickpeas, black beans, rice, lentils.
You're buying the lightest food that you can.
The lightest food that I could carry. I mean, look at me. I'm like as thin as a whistle. So like, heck no. I left it at the store. I got acquainted with my roommates, and I just got to work, finishing school.
Did you have an agent? How were you getting jobs?
No. I didn't have an agent at the time.
How did you find out about auditions, open calls, and open castings and whatever?
There's casting websites, so like LA Castings, Casting Frontier, Casting Networks, and Actors Access.
Just looking all those up and just going.
Literally self-submitting myself.
And you're working, going to school?
Not quite. So going to school. Going to school at the moment. And then in September.
Eventually you started working.
Yeah, eventually I started working on top of still finishing school. And then I had a major setback. You know, my mom got into a really bad accident.
Now, how is she?
She's doing really well now.
Good,
she is causing all types of hell in Georgia. But I had that little setback. Then I finally graduated. And then this past year, 2023, mid-year, I got signed to a very reputable agency, a commercial agent.
Good.
And then...
So perseverance pays off. You got to show up. You just got to keep going,
You got to show up for yourself.
Did you just go, screw this? At some point, did you just go, I'm not going to, this is just...
No, because you know what?
Determined?
I was very determined. Like, there's no reason in my mind. I came out here to make something happen, make some ish shake, and I'm not leaving until I make some stuff shake.
Yeah. Well, we had some conversations. You were deliberating whether you should go with this agent or agency, and it was kind of a big deal, right? And you were sort of on the fence, I feel like, about that. Should I do this? And really, I think maybe there was some doubt at some, if we're being honest, but, you know, I told you at the time, you didn't unsolicited advice. She didn't ask me, but I told her anyway. I said, you know what? You're there. You have the opportunity. You need to take it while you're there. Why are you there? This is why you're there, right?
Yeah.
You got to take it. You got to go for it, right?
I think I was a little apprehensive, though, because when I had started submitting myself to like these agencies, I didn't have the demo reel. I didn't have the huge portfolio. I was like fresh meat. And I didn't want to get taken advantage of. And that self-doubt started to kind of creep into my mind. Like, look who you're competing against. You have 5 other girls in your acting school alone.
Right.
Who could take your spot? And I'm just like, oh, shoot. But I was like, you know what? There's no way. I always remember my grandmother or my great-grandmother telling me this. Your little brother is going to pass you. And I'll be hot diggity dog damn if I let somebody younger than me have no fear of anything and surpass me. So that's always
she was manipulating you in a good way, right?
Exactly. You know, I really appreciate that. I really appreciate that, because it's like, dang, he is going to pass me. She is going to pass me. If I don't
she was
take
inspiring
this fear,
you. Manipulation
is
it's not a positive word. She was inspiring you. You just didn't know it.
It made sense coming from the business mogul that she was. So I'm like, you know what? I appreciate it. But that self-doubt, when you're competing and working with these people in LA and New York, there's a lot of doubt that comes with it, and your capabilities.
Well, and how difficult has it been as a woman of God in that industry, particularly in LA? Things are quite a lot. They're pretty loose out there, right?
It's a fast and
Can
loose
be, right?
life.
Yeah, exactly. So how do you navigate that fast and loose life? And also, set a good example for yourself and other people as well as a woman of God in this industry.
It's difficult. Very, very difficult, because a lot of the industry goes against everything that I stand for.
Right.
So one of the things that I've been blessed and grateful enough to have prior to come out to LA is I'm not a partier, I'm not a smoker, I'm not a drinker. You don't know how to control yourself. When you got to LA, you'll get sucked in very, very quickly.
Yeah.
So, and because I love staying at home and just yakking on my phone and like texting people all day and doing TikToks, that's kind of been my saving grace, but also staying rooted in my word and knowing my values and what I'm not willing to compromise on, has really kept me grounded. Even though it is the exact opposite of who I am to the core, I'm still very loving and accepting of any and everyone that I work with, because I never know who I'm going to affect.
Right.
And what example that I'm setting and showing to them. So it's a little difficult, but it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. It is what you make it, in all honesty. So very accepting of everyone. So.
Obviously you're choosy about the castings that you go to, right?
Oh my goodness,
but
yes.
Have you been surprised? Has anyone come out and just been blatantly this was not what, asking you to do something that is just this completely...
I didn't share this with you. Someone asked me to just do soft porn.
You said that there's a lot of, in the studios out there's a lot of that goes on in the studio rentals and stuff. I don't remember if we had that conversation though, but...
Well, yeah. Well, now you know.
Yeah.
I've gotten asked to...
Well, hey, if you don't ask...
You never know.
That's right.
No, I got asked to do that. And honestly, it shocked me at first, because that was like my first time like being asked like just blatantly that way. But I was like, do you see any of that on my page? Like...
Right.
What makes you think that I would do something like that? Yeah. But I kindly declined, respectfully. And now when I get role submissions, even from my agent,
right,
if they are something that goes against like what I believe in, like me having to, have sex on camera or do anything else, hey, I'm going to decline this.
Yeah, not going to happen. I mean, as professionals, and sounds like that's a loose term out there, but anyone, a photographer or a casting person or whatever, I always look at the person that I'm considering working with. I look at their body of work and I go, okay, you can pretty much tell what it is that they do, where the limit is, right? Some people just don't have a filter, right? That are in this business, I guess. But it's really, in my opinion, inappropriate then to go, hey, you want to do some boudoir? And they're like, what in my, what, I don't see any boudoir shots in my portfolio. What would make you think that I would do that? Oh, just asking, right? No. It sort of makes you look creepy, right? It doesn't it does, so. Keep that in mind as your photographers or whatnot, filmmakers, whatever you have when you're working with people. At least look at their body of work to see,
But that was actually my very first photo shoot, and I loved it.
I think I remember you showed that to me.
A lot of people don't. So when I first started modeling, it was in Montana.
We sort of did.
Yeah, we sort of did one, but not as
I'll
extreme.
Throw it up here. Should I throw it up there?
Not as extreme. Hey, let me see which one it is, then we could throw it up there.
The work I do, I try to keep it classy.
It's tasteful.
I try to keep it tasteful, right? I don't want it to be raunchy. That's what I don't like. I don't like
That's not what boudoir is.
I like beauty. So
beauty. No, that was my first shoot in Montana. But the photographer, super professional, and he actually made me love boudoir. I was like, dang, I can't believe I was this comfortable getting like naked in a camera. But the way he made me look, the way he made me feel, I was like, you know what? I wouldn't mind doing this again, like at all. Like, I mean, keep it for myself, but I wouldn't mind doing this again, actually.
Right.
So
you found a good one.
I did, thankfully. Like, you and him were the only ones. And it happens to be male photographers. I haven't found a female boudoir photographer, actually.
They're around. There's some around.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I will say, definitely a great boudoir photographer if you're looking for one, ladies. So.
All right. So we're going to switch gears a little bit. Superpower.
Ooh.
I always ask this in my podcast. If you had a superpower, like examples like invisibility, super strength, like Superman, super speed, could be anything that, we can't do ourselves. Teleportation, that would be cool. What?
Probably telekinesis. I would love to read somebody's mind.
Okay.
And you know why? Because there's
Would you really want to know what everyone's thinking?
I would. And you know why? Because what I'm getting on the outside or what you may be getting on the outside may not actually be like their true intentions on the inside.
Right.
And it's like they may
That's a good one.
appear like very, aggressive, frantic, whatever the case may be, but deep down inside, they're just nervous. And if I could put them at ease, like, hey, I'm just here to buy some chicken wings, or hey, I just want this.
Right.
I feel like we could better communicate just like as people if I knew what you were actually thinking. So now I just,
Or
like you said,
I'm going to avoid that person.
now I just show up to photo shoots asking 1,001 questions like, all right, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Let's go. So that's.
You could totally avoid all the bad relationships you've ever had,
my
fake
goodness.
friends, whether they, you know what I mean?
I could. But I feel like with that
Are
would
they
come
lying
great.
to me? Right.
Then that would have to like cancel out like the guessing game, like have to pay attention to body language, how their eyes go cross or something like that, whatever quirks they have that I pay attention to. So
That's a good one.
I would say telekinesis. What, do you want to fly, Gregory?
I want to be invisible. Whenever I want to be,
Why?
Then I could just be like a fly on the wall, be invisible, just go where I want to go, not be seen. It's sort of close to telekinesis because I could hear what people are saying, what they're doing, what they're saying.
And they just don't know they're saying it around you.
Yeah, they just don't know that I know.
Yeah, I'd love to sit in one of those with my bosses. What are you talking about? I'm joking.
Yeah. So, but I like the telekinesis. I might have to rethink this whole thing.
See, I got people rethinking over here.
All right. So, what's next for you?
Bam. What is next? Okay. Well, I do have a particular, and this is more so project-wise, a particular fitness brand, starts with an A, ends in an S, that I'm doing a spec for in January.
Okay.
Very exciting. But I have decided to write down all my goals for 2024, as I think everyone should, and check them off as I go. So I may or may not be relocating.
Okay.
Okay. But I plan on actually continuing to work at my craft of acting and modeling. I will be on a game show doing trivia.
Okay.
So be sure to watch out for that. Don't laugh at me, Gregory, for answering something wrong. Because they're going to be like, which cup
It can't
is
be
full?
wrong. It's what's next for you. So.
But no, a trivia game working with this fitness brand and truly trying to book as many campaigns as I possibly can and a feature film. So that is my goal for this year, to book a feature film and really win casting over with my charming personality. So
Okay. That shouldn't be too difficult.
oh, if I do say so myself, it wouldn't be.
All right. Any last thoughts before we end
Depart.
the podcast and depart?
Thank you, Gregory, actually, for inviting me onto your podcast. I really appreciate it. I have always valued your work.
Thank you.
And just you as a human being. So.
Thank you. Right back at you.
Thank you.
Right back at you. It's been a pleasure having you on. It's been a pleasure working with you and getting to know you through the years. Thank you so much. And I guess that's where we'll end it.
Bye.